What if your mind has been somewhere else your entire life? What if you have been living but never truly experiencing anything fully? Imagine sitting quietly, yet your thoughts refuse to stop racing endlessly. You replay past mistakes whilst worrying about problems that have not happened yet. This constant mental noise slowly drains your energy without you realizing it. And over time, it begins affecting your mental health in powerful ways. Stress builds silently, anxiety grows stronger, and peace feels harder to find. You may look calm outside, but inside, everything feels overwhelming and chaotic. This is where mindfulness enters as something simple yet deeply transformative. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the current moment. It means noticing your thoughts without letting them control your emotions. It means observing your feelings without reacting automatically to every trigger. At first, it may sound too simple to create real change, but simplicity often hides the most powerful tools for transformation and growth. Many people spend years searching for happiness in external achievements, yet they overlook the importance of understanding their inner mental world. Your mind shapes how you experience every single moment of your life. If your mind is restless, everything around you feels unstable and uncertain. If your mind is calm, even challenges feel manageable and less overwhelming. That is the hidden power mindfulness brings into everyday life experiences. It does not change the world around you instantly. Instead, it changes how you respond to that world internally, and that shift creates a completely different experience of reality. Imagine facing stress without panic or reacting with frustration immediately. Imagine having control over your attention and emotional responses consistently. This is not about eliminating thoughts completely from your mind. It is about learning how to relate to them differently. Thoughts will always come, but they do not have to control you. This understanding becomes the foundation of better mental health over time. Studies show mindfulness reduces stress and improves emotional regulation significantly. It helps lower anxiety by bringing attention back to the present moment. When you focus on now, worries about future lose their intensity gradually. The same happens with regrets connected to past experiences and mistakes. You begin to observe instead of getting trapped in endless mental loops. This creates space between your thoughts and your reactions. That space is where real change and growth begin happening. Without awareness, your mind operates on automatic patterns every day. These patterns are shaped by habits, fears, and past experiences deeply. Mindfulness interrupts these patterns and brings conscious awareness into your actions. And once you are aware, you can choose how to respond. This choice gives you back control over your mental state. Over time, this leads to greater emotional stability and clarity. You become less reactive and more thoughtful in your daily decisions. Even difficult emotions become easier to understand and manage effectively. But mindfulness is not something you master overnight instantly. It is a practice that grows stronger with consistent daily effort. Just like physical fitness, mental clarity requires regular training and patience. The good news is anyone can begin this journey immediately. You do not need special tools, environments, or complicated techniques to start. All you need is your attention and willingness to observe yourself honestly. The first step is simply noticing how busy your mind actually is. And once you notice, everything begins to shift gradually from within. Because awareness is the doorway to lasting mental transformation. But understanding mindfulness is only the beginning of the journey. The real change happens when you start applying it in daily life. And that is exactly where we are heading next. Because knowing is powerful, but practicing creates real results. In the next part, we will bring mindfulness into real situations, situations you face every single day, without even realizing their impact. And you may start seeing your own life very differently, because mindfulness is not theory. It is a practical way of living, a way that slowly reshapes your mental health from within. And once you experience it, you cannot go back to unconscious living, so stay with me, because this journey is just beginning now, and what comes next may change how you live every moment. Now imagine starting your day without immediately reaching for your phone impulsively. Instead, you take a moment to notice your breath and surroundings calmly. This simple pause creates a powerful shift in how your day begins. Most people wake up and instantly dive into stress without awareness. Notifications, messages, and worries take control before the day even starts. Mindfulness breaks this cycle by creating space between stimulus and response. That space gives you the power to choose your mental state intentionally. For example, consider how you usually respond to stressful situations at work. A difficult email arrives, and your mind immediately reacts with tension. Your heart rate increases, and negative thoughts start flooding rapidly. Without mindfulness, this reaction feels automatic and uncontrollable every time. But with mindfulness, you notice the reaction before it fully takes over. You pause, breathe, and observe what is happening inside your mind. This observation reduces the intensity of the emotional response significantly. You begin responding with clarity instead of reacting out of stress. This small shift can transform how you handle daily challenges completely. Mindfulness also improves how you interact with people around you. During conversations, many people listen only to respond, not understand. Their minds are busy forming replies instead of being present. Mindful listening changes this by focusing fully on the other person. You hear not just words, but emotions and intentions behind them. This deepens relationships and reduces misunderstandings in communication. People feel valued when they are truly heard and understood, and that strengthens both personal and professional connections over time. Another powerful area is how mindfulness affects your daily habits. Eating, for instance, is often done without awareness or attention. People eat quickly while distracted by screens or stressful thoughts. Mindful eating encourages you to slow down and notice each bite. You experience taste, texture, and satisfaction more fully than before. This not only improves enjoyment, but also supports healthier eating patterns. The same principle applies to walking, exercising, or even resting. Every activity becomes more meaningful when done with full awareness. Mindfulness transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for calm and clarity. It allows you to reconnect with experiences you often overlook daily. Stressful routines begin to feel less overwhelming and more manageable. Even simple tasks become moments of peace instead of pressure. Over time, this practice changes your baseline level of mental stress. You begin feeling calmer without needing external distractions constantly. Your focus improves because your attention is no longer scattered. This increased focus leads to better productivity and decision-making abilities. You waste less energy on overthinking and unnecessary mental clutter. Instead, your mind becomes more organized and clear naturally. This clarity helps you see situations more realistically and objectively. Emotional reactions become less intense and easier to manage effectively. You start recognizing patterns in your thinking and behavior clearly. These patterns often explain why certain situations trigger strong emotions. Once recognized, you can gradually change these patterns consciously. This is where mindfulness becomes a tool for personal transformation. It helps you understand yourself on a deeper, more meaningful level, and understanding yourself is the first step toward lasting mental health improvement. But mindfulness is not about avoiding difficult emotions completely. It is about facing them with awareness instead of resistance. When you stop resisting, emotions pass the more quickly and naturally. This reduces long-term stress and prevents emotional buildup inside. Over time, you develop resilience against life's inevitable challenges. You become stronger, calmer, and more adaptable in difficult situations. This transformation does not happen instantly, but it is deeply rewarding. Each mindful moment builds a stronger foundation for mental stability, and with consistency, these small moments create powerful long-term change. But just when mindfulness feels simple, something unexpected happens. Many people discover a deeper challenge hidden within their own minds, a challenge that makes mindfulness more difficult than it first appears. This challenge reveals something important about how the mind truly works, and understanding it can change your entire perspective completely. Because mindfulness is not just calming, it can also be confronting. At first, mindfulness feels calming, almost like a peaceful escape from stress. But as you practice deeper, something unexpected begins to surface slowly. You start noticing thoughts and emotions you have been avoiding for years. Memories, fears, and insecurities begin appearing more clearly than before. This can feel uncomfortable, even overwhelming if you are not prepared. Many people quit mindfulness at this stage because it feels too intense. They expected peace, but instead they encountered their unfiltered inner world. This is the hidden truth about mindfulness that few people talk about openly. Mindfulness does not remove your thoughts, it reveals them more clearly. And sometimes, what you see is not easy to accept immediately. You may notice how often your mind drifts into negativity or worry, or how frequently you replay past situations with regret and self-criticism. These patterns have always been there, just hidden beneath distraction before. Now, without distraction, they come into full awareness for the first time. This awareness can feel like losing control rather than gaining it. But in reality, it is the beginning of true understanding and growth. You cannot change what you are unwilling to see clearly. And mindfulness forces you to see your mental habits honestly. This honesty is powerful, but it requires courage and patience. Because facing your mind means facing parts of yourself you ignored. Many of these thoughts are not facts, but learned patterns over time. Your brain repeats them because it believes they keep you safe. But often, they create unnecessary stress instead of real protection. Mindfulness helps you question these patterns instead of accepting them blindly. You begin asking, is this thought actually true or just familiar? This question alone can break cycles of negative thinking gradually. You start seeing thoughts as temporary events, not permanent truths. This shift creates distance between you and your mental patterns. That distance reduces their power over your emotions and behavior significantly. However, this process takes time and consistent effort every day. There will be moments when your mind feels louder than ever before. This does not mean mindfulness is failing. It means awareness is increasing. You are noticing what was always there but previously ignored. This realization can feel frustrating, but it is a sign of progress. Growth often feels uncomfortable before it becomes beneficial and rewarding. Mindfulness teaches you to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. This builds emotional strength and resilience over time gradually. You learn that emotions rise, peak, and eventually fade naturally. They do not last forever, no matter how intense they feel. This understanding reduces fear of difficult emotions significantly. Instead of avoiding them, you allow them to exist temporarily, and in that allowance, they lose their overwhelming intensity slowly. This is where mindfulness becomes truly transformative for mental health. It changes your relationship with thoughts and emotions completely. You are no longer controlled by them, but aware of them. That awareness creates freedom you may have never experienced before. Freedom from constant worry, or overthinking, and emotional reactivity patterns. But this freedom comes with responsibility toward your own mental habits. You must continue practicing awareness to maintain this new perspective. Without practice, old patterns can easily return and take over again. This is why consistency matters more than intensity in mindfulness practice. Even a few minutes daily can create lasting mental change. Over time, mindfulness becomes a natural part of your thinking process. You respond with awareness automatically instead of reacting impulsively. This is the deeper level most people never reach without persistence. And once you reach it, your entire perspective begins shifting. You start seeing life with more clarity, patience, and acceptance. But there is one final step that completes this transformation. A step that turns mindfulness into a powerful, life-changing habit. Because awareness alone is not enough for lasting mental health improvement. You must apply it intentionally, in the way you live daily. This is where mindfulness moves from practice into lifestyle completely. And this final shift changes everything about how you experience life. It is the difference between knowing mindfulness and truly living it. And that is exactly where we are heading in the final part. Now, mindfulness is no longer just an idea you understand intellectually. It becomes something you begin to live in real, everyday moments. This is where real transformation in mental health actually begins fully. You start noticing your thoughts before they turn into emotional reactions. That single moment of awareness changes your entire response to life. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause and observe your inner state. This pause becomes your greatest tool for emotional stability and control. Over time, this habit rewires how your brain processes stress. You stop living on autopilot and start living with intention daily. Simple situations that once triggered stress now feel easier to handle. You begin recognizing emotional patterns before they escalate into overwhelm. This awareness gives you space to choose better responses consciously. And with better choices comes greater peace of mind consistently. Mindfulness does not remove challenges, but it changes how you face them. Difficult moments still appear, but your reaction becomes calmer and clearer. This shift gradually reduces anxiety in your daily life experiences. You no longer feel controlled by every passing thought or emotion. Instead, you become an observer of your own mental landscape. That observer mindset creates distance from unnecessary mental suffering, and that distance is where healing begins to take place. You realize that not every thought deserves your attention or energy. Many thoughts are just mental noise without real importance or meaning. Mindfulness teaches you to filter what truly deserves focus and attention. This mental clarity improves your decision-making in all areas of life. Work, relationships, and personal goals all benefit from this awareness. You become less reactive and more thoughtful in your actions daily. This leads to fewer regrets and more intentional life choices. People around you may begin noticing your calmer presence gradually, because inner peace naturally reflects in your external behavior and communication. You listen better, respond slower, and understand situations more deeply. This improves your relationships and reduces unnecessary conflicts significantly. Mindfulness also helps you handle failure and setbacks more effectively. Instead of panic, you respond with reflection and learning mindset. This creates resilience that strengthens your mental health over time. You stop fearing mistakes and start seeing them as lessons. This shift removes a major source of stress from your life. Perfectionism begins to fade as acceptance becomes your new approach. You understand that being human means being imperfect and evolving constantly. That acceptance brings relief you may not have experienced before. It allows you to move forward instead of being stuck mentally. Mindfulness becomes a tool for emotional recovery and mental strength. You use it during stress, confusion, and emotional challenges daily. Each moment of awareness reinforces your inner stability and confidence. Slowly, mindfulness becomes second nature rather than a practice technique. You no longer have to force awareness, it happens naturally. This is when true mental transformation becomes deeply integrated into life. Your mind becomes less chaotic and more organized over time. Emotional storms still come, but they no longer control you. You stand steady, even when life feels uncertain or overwhelming. This inner stability is the real benefit of mindfulness practice. It does not change your environment, but it changes your experience, and that change is more powerful than external circumstances ever could be. You begin appreciating small moments of peace throughout your day. Even ordinary experiences start feeling more meaningful and present. Life becomes less about rushing and more about being aware. This awareness turns simple moments into deeply rich experiences, and that richness improves your overall mental well-being significantly. But this journey is not just about personal improvement alone. It also prepares you to handle life with greater wisdom, because mindfulness is not escape, it is engagement with clarity. And that clarity leads to better mental health decisions every day. You begin living with intention instead of unconscious reaction patterns. This is the foundation of a healthier and more balanced mind. And now you are ready to take this mindset into action. Because understanding mindfulness is only powerful when you truly practice it. Now, the real journey begins beyond understanding and into daily practice. Mindfulness is not a destination, but a continuous way of living. Every moment becomes an opportunity to return to awareness and presence. You no longer wait for perfect conditions to feel mentally balanced. Instead, you build balance within yourself, regardless of external chaos. Life will always bring stress, uncertainty, and unexpected emotional challenges. But mindfulness gives you a steady anchor during those storms. That anchor is your ability to pause and observe yourself. In that pause, you reclaim control over your mental direction. You begin to notice how quickly thoughts try to pull you away, and you gently guide your attention back to the present moment. This simple act, repeated consistently, transforms your mental health deeply. Over time, anxiety loses its grip on your daily experiences, because awareness replaces fear with understanding and clarity instead. You stop fighting your mind and start working with it. This shift creates a healthier relationship with your own thoughts. You realize that peace was never outside you to find. It has always existed within your awareness, waiting to be discovered. Mindfulness simply helps you reconnect with that inner stability again, and that connection becomes stronger with every mindful moment you practice. You may still face stress, but your response becomes different now. Instead of being overwhelmed, you become more grounded and centered. This groundedness improves your emotional resilience in powerful ways. You handle pressure with more patience and less internal conflict. Your mind becomes less reactive and more observant over time. And observation creates space for wiser decisions in every situation. You begin living with greater intention and emotional awareness daily. This awareness naturally improves your relationships and communication skills. People feel your calm presence and respond to it positively, because inner peace always reflects outward in subtle but powerful ways. Mindfulness also helps you appreciate life in a deeper sense. Ordinary moments start feeling meaningful, valuable, and more alive. You no longer rush through life without noticing its details. Instead, you experience each moment with full attention and gratitude. This shift changes your entire perception of happiness and success. You realize happiness is not something to chase endlessly outside. It is something cultivated through awareness and presence within yourself. With practice, mindfulness becomes your natural way of responding. You no longer have to force yourself to be present. It becomes part of how you think, feel, and act daily. Even during difficult times, you maintain a sense of inner balance. That balance helps you recover faster from emotional setbacks. You become more adaptable, calm, and emotionally intelligent over time. This transformation does not happen overnight, but it is lasting. Each mindful breath strengthens your mental foundation step by step, and every moment of awareness builds long-term emotional stability. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, until mindfulness is no longer something you do, but who you are. At that point, mental health is no longer fragile or unstable. It becomes resilient, grounded, and deeply connected to the present. You stop living inside your thoughts and start observing them clearly. And that observation gives you freedom from unnecessary suffering, freedom to choose how you respond to life's challenges, freedom to live with clarity instead of constant mental noise. This is the true power of mindfulness in mental health. Not escape, but understanding and conscious engagement with life. And that understanding changes everything about how you experience reality. You begin to live with more peace, awareness, and emotional strength. This is not just a practice, but a lifelong transformation, one that continues growing with every mindful moment you embrace. And it all starts with a single breath of awareness, a single moment where you choose presence over distraction. That moment is always available to you, right here and now, and your journey of mindfulness can begin at any time because the present moment is always the only place healing begins. At this point, mindfulness is no longer something you are learning, it becomes something you are slowly embodying in everyday life. You begin noticing how different your mind feels compared to before. The constant noise of overthinking starts losing its control over you. Instead, moments of silence inside your mind become more familiar. That silence is not emptiness, but deep awareness and clarity. You start recognizing thoughts as passing events, not personal truths. This shift alone transforms how you experience emotional challenges daily. Stress still appears, but it no longer defines your entire state. You respond instead of react, and that difference changes everything. Mindfulness teaches you that you are not your thoughts at all. You are the awareness observing those thoughts as they arise. This realization brings a quiet sense of inner freedom gradually. You stop identifying with every negative story your mind creates. Instead, you see those stories as temporary mental patterns only. With this understanding, emotional pain begins to lose its intensity. You no longer amplify suffering by resisting what you feel. You allow emotions to exist without judgment or suppression. And in that acceptance, they naturally begin to dissolve faster. Life feels less like a struggle and more like an experience. Even difficult moments carry lessons instead of overwhelming distress now. You start appreciating the present moment more deeply than before. Simple things like breathing or walking feel more meaningful now. This awareness brings a sense of calm you can rely on, not because life becomes easier, but because your mind becomes steadier. You develop patience with yourself during emotional or stressful situations. That patience prevents impulsive reactions you might later regret. Over time, this creates healthier relationships and better communication habits. People begin to notice your calmer and more grounded presence. They feel more understood when interacting with you daily, because you are truly listening instead of just reacting mentally. Mindfulness strengthens emotional intelligence in ways you may not expect. You begin recognizing emotional triggers before they escalate fully. This awareness gives you time to choose your response wisely, and that choice is where real personal freedom exists. You are no longer controlled by automatic mental reactions. Instead, you become the conscious observer of your inner world. This transformation builds deep resilience against life's constant uncertainties. Challenges still come, but they no longer destabilize you easily. You remain centered even when situations feel unpredictable or stressful. This stability becomes your new normal state of being. And from that state, life feels more manageable and balanced. Mindfulness slowly becomes part of your identity and lifestyle, not as a technique, but as a natural way of living. You no longer try to be mindful, you simply are mindful. Every moment becomes an opportunity to return to awareness again. That return happens effortlessly, without struggle or forced effort. This is where true mental transformation becomes deeply rooted. You are no longer learning mindfulness, you are living it fully, and that living changes how you experience everything around you. Stress loses its power because awareness is always present now. You stop fearing emotions and start understanding them instead. This understanding replaces resistance with calm acceptance in daily life. And acceptance creates peace that external conditions cannot destroy. You realize peace was never missing, only overlooked within you. Mindfulness simply helped you uncover what was always there, a steady awareness beneath all thoughts and emotions. That awareness becomes your anchor in every situation you face. And from that anchor, you move through life more freely, not perfectly, but consciously and with growing clarity each day. This is the final shift from practicing mindfulness to embodying it, a shift that quietly transforms your entire inner world. And from that transformation, your outer life naturally improves too, because a calm mind always changes how life is experienced, and that is the lasting impact of mindfulness on mental health.